I'm so excited for this video because in this video we're going for the gold. If you're new to the channel, I'm Vicki, and in this video we're going to be upcycling some vintage jewelry, some beads and components, and we are going to make gold, yes, gold jewelry. In fact, I'm wearing gold right now. Is it real or is it fashion jewelry? Well, we'll see, won't we now? Have some earrings going on too. So that's what we're doing today. I had a lot of fun making the jewelry in this video, and I'm going to be showing you something I haven't done before. I went to eBay sold listings for gold jewelry, and I'm going to be showing you a few photos. In fact, I'm going to pop one up right here. I'm going to put a photo up here of a necklace that's sold on eBay. I want you to take a close look at it, and I want you to think about how much you think it sold for. How much? What do you think? Or how much do you think it sold for? And after we make each necklace and earring set, that's what we're doing today, I'm going to show you an eBay sold comp and what I made today. So you'll probably notice that some of the eBay sales inspired some of the jewelry that I made for this video. Inspiration can come from anywhere. So for today's gold video, I had to go on a search for gold. I needed some inspiration besides going into my bead stash, which I love doing anyway. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Let's start with some vintage necklaces that we're going to take apart and upcycle into 3 sets of a necklace with earrings and then compare them. And I'm really curious to see how much you think this necklace sold for, but I have some others that sold for a little bit more than this one. Let's get started. In this video, we're going to make some gold-inspired jewelry from vintage to modern fashion jewelry and beads. That's what we're going to do today in this video. Make that high-end, fine gold look on a budget. Let's take a look what I've pulled out here. I have some gold chain, different tones, different styles, vintage beaded necklace, another vintage beaded necklace. I showed you this stretch bracelet recently in a video. These have some neat components. I have a fine gold chain, this vintage beaded necklace. I like the metal bead and the gold lined glass tube beads, but the round beads in between, well, they're plastic and they have some wear, so it's time to upcycle that. And then, of course, I have some other beads. These happen to be gold-plated beads and ear wires. And these are clamshells and crimp beads and some ear wires and other beads in here. A few more things to work with. Where do we start? We're going to be making some necklaces and some earrings. Move some of this aside. Let's take this necklace apart. It's unmarked. It's metal beads. This necklace is on chain, so get my cutters here. A very fine chain attached with a jump ring, but it's in pretty bad shape, so we're not going to reuse that. But we have these beads, and we have these, and these. And if I need to, I could work these in. I have these off to the side. You can see right away how gold beads, whether they're gold-plated or gold tone, come in so many different colors. And so what you want to do is try to match up the color. This seems to go well with this one here. I'm going to set this aside. So let's start with these, and let's take this bracelet apart. Just on elastic. The string is glued in this one. Nothing says that we have to stay with all gold. We can mix in other colors if we want, including pearls and glass or stone beads. You can mix other colors in if you like. I'm going to focus on just gold. I'm using 49 strand wire. It is silver, but it's not going to show because I'm probably going to use a clamshell at the end. So let's get some wire and a ruler. Let's do 12. If I go for a 19-inch necklace, I think I'm going to do 12 and 10. So that'll give me 22 inches to work with. That should be plenty. I have some clips, alligator clips. Keep the beads from falling off the end. I think I'm going to work in a focal point at the front part of the necklace. These vintage beads with the texture are actually hollow. I can tell by how light they are. Let's say that we started with 3 of these. And if you're going to make earrings, make sure you set aside a couple of beads to work with. I paid $11 for this bag a long time ago. These are actually gold plated. I bought those years ago, and I bet today it's a lot more than $11. They're supposed to be 250 beads, and I couldn't even tell you where I bought them from now because companies have closed up and changed hands, and we don't go to bead and gem shows anymore. All right, let's see how this looks. Actually, those are very light too. Let's put one on each side. Set that aside. Let's build this necklace 2 beads at a time, meaning one on each end. Not sure how many I'm going to put on here, but I'm just going to keep going with it until I like it. Again, I'm just making this one about 18 to 19 inches. I lean towards 19 because if I decide to keep this one, I don't like really short necklaces. It would have been nice if one of these textured beads was a little bit larger, but it's not. But still, you know, I have 2 of these that I could work in. I already have 2 set aside for earrings. So what if I did, back off here, I do 5 beads, designing as I go, 5 beads, and then a textured bead. This will be the last time I can work these in because this is all I have. But I want them to show in the front. This is what we have so far. Let's go back to make sure I have 5. Yes, 3 textured, 5 smooth, and a textured. Let's add a few more of these before we go to the smaller beads. Okay, how about 3 on each side? And then let's start tapering down. Let's go to this next size. I'm going to add 5. You might want to put a clip back on here while you bead the other side. Let's add a few more. I'm really not sure how many I'm putting on here. I guess till I get to the desired length. This is what we have so far. I mean, most of this is going to go around the neck, so that's why I made the larger beads in the front here. But I think I'm going to go try this on, and I'll be right back. I think I want at least another inch. Another inch is about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 beads. Do the same thing to the other side. Okay, let's make sure that the beads match up here. Looks good to me. Now I'm going to taper down to my smaller bead to this size. However, I do want to see if the color is going to work because even though these are gold plated and these are gold plated, they were done at different times, probably by different manufacturers. Let's see if this one's going to work. You know, the smaller beads are going around the neck. I'm going to check my bead stash and see if I have anything else available. I don't, so I'm going to go with these. They're going to go around the neckline. I wish they were a little shinier. Oh, I better get a clip on here. In fact, let's bring this together and even these up a little bit. I'm going to work with what I have here and finish this off. Stop there and add some to the other side. Let's take a look here. 9, that would be an 18-inch necklace. At 9.5, it would be 19. So I'm just trying to see how far I need to go. Maybe I should have cut a little more wire. Let's bring these wires together. I should have started with more wires. So let's go for, is that 9 on the inside? Let's go for at least 18. And if I can add a few more, I will. but I'm at least going to match what I have here. And if you want to use a beading mat, you can always do that. You can dump some beads out, and you can also use a bead board for that matter. But because this pattern is so easy, I'm actually having more trouble picking these up off the bead mat than when I was just adding them. Not sure why. You do what works for you. Check it. Push the beads down. I thought I'd pop in and share something here, especially to those of you who are new to the channel. Maybe this is the first video that you've ever seen of mine, and I just want to let you know that my videos are for, what are they for? Inspiration. Yes, inspiration. I don't expect you to have the same beads and findings that I have. My videos are about inspiring you to get into your own bead stash and or vintage necklaces or modern fashion jewelry. Get into your stash and see what you can upcycle, or at the very least be on the lookout for similar type necklaces that I use in this video. I do share my tools and some supplies below the video. In fact, I have an Amazon store now. Yes, I have an Amazon store. I've had affiliate links for Amazon, but because I now have a store, I was able to organize things into beads or findings or tools, and I'm pretty excited about it because there's just one link below now in all my recent videos that takes you directly to my Avante Jewelry Amazon store, and it's organized in a way that I could never do just in the description below the video. So check that out. But again, what's my videos about? Inspiration. I think I'm good. I have about 20 beads on each side. It's an 18-inch necklace without the clasp. So with the clasp, it's going to be about 18.5 to 18.75. So I think I'll be fine. Plus, I'll add an extension chain. So let's stop here, get a clip on here. To finish this, we're going to use a couple of clam shells to help hide the wire. And I've got a couple of crimp beads, not tubes, got a couple of crimp beads. And then we need a clasp. I'm going to upcycle this lobster clasp. Always make sure they work. And I have a jump ring. I've already checked my pattern. I know I have the same number of beads on each side. So let's go ahead and take one of these clam shells. I've shown these to you before. Put the wire through the back side. Pick up a crimp bead, tiny little crimp bead, and using flat nose pliers, just take that bead to the end, give it a good smash, flatten it. At the same time, you want to check it and make sure it's not going to come off, and then slide the clamshell up over it. There's the flattened crimp bead. Here's the clamshell. Just close it up. It closes up really easy. I guess I need a jump ring to attach the lobster clasp, so I'll need to get a second one of these. So let's go ahead and, well, I can get a smaller one. I'll be right back. You'll need 2 jump rings because you need one to attach the lobster clasp, and then you also need 2 pairs of pliers. I've got flat nose and chain nose here, and then just put this through the little loop on the clamshell, and then attach the lobster clasp and close up the jump ring. You can wiggle it just to make sure it's in line. And let's push our beads down. See how that hides the crimp bead? And then again, go through the back side or the bottom hole of the clamshell, pick up the crimp bead, let this drop down. You do want some flexibility in your beads. You don't want to go too tight, so run your hand down through it. And then I like to use my chain nose pliers. Sometimes I call them needle nose. And I'm going to get a hold of that crimp bead and push it down inside this time. Down inside. But this is when I like to open up this clamshell a little more, be able to get to that, because if you have this too loose, the beads will be too loose on the string. So this one you got to get down a little further and then flatten it and check it really good. Okay, it's good. Now we just need to cut the wire. You can use scissors or nail clippers, and there it is inside. Close the clamshell up. Got that little loop on it to attach the jump ring. Wiggle it back and forth until you've got it aligned. Close it up. And now we have our gold necklace. Let's check the length of it. What did we end up with? Well, it's 18 inches because we go from the inside of the bottom bead, so it's 18 inches. Let's add a little bit of extension chain. I have 2 colors of chain here, and I think I'm going to go with this. Nope, that's too small for extension chain. I'll get something else. Just like with the beads that we're working with, the shades of gold or gold tone can vary quite a bit. You've got the shinier, brassy, even though I've got a mix of vintage beads and truly gold-plated beads. These are both gold-plated. There is a slightly different sheen as it goes around the neckline. Would have preferred it be an exact match, but it's not. But now the same thing happens with extension chain. There's so many different shades of, quote, gold tone. I'm going to eliminate this one. This one seems to match pretty good, but this is going at the back of the neck. So I think I'm going to go with this one. This is something by Blue Moon Beads. I've had it for a long time. Let's just go ahead and make a 3-inch extension chain. Take it apart about here. I will use 2 flat nose pliers. Let's add that to the jump ring. Close it up. And so now we have a necklace that goes from 18 to about 21. And if you want, you can add a little bead to the end of your chain. But here's our necklace, and I saved a couple beads to make some earrings. So let's take a couple of ear wires. Just going to use the hook wire and a couple of gold head pins and probably a couple of small beads. They're just going to be very simple earrings. Add this bead on top. If we wanted to, we could stack some beads here. That looks kind of cool. It takes the vintage look to a little more modern by adding these stacked beads. But I like it. The question is, do I want to add a small bead? A lot of times I do add a small bead at the very top, right before the ear wire. You can do whatever you would like. Push the beads down, bend it at a right angle. Use your round nose pliers. Cut this down to about 3/8 of an inch. Wire is flush. Head pin is flush. Make your loop. Do the same thing here. Open up the loop sideways on the ear wire. Attach the earring. Close it up and repeat that. And here's our first gold necklace and earrings, a mix of vintage to modern beads, some of which are gold toned, some of which are gold plated. And you could take this same idea and turn it into a bracelet. Well, does it look like gold to you? Do you think your friends will think it's gold if you're wearing it? It could be fun just to see if they say anything, but then again, it's fun just to say that you made it too. Necklace number 1 with some earrings. And now let's take a look at one of the eBay sold comps. I'm going to show you just the photo first of the necklace that I chose from eBay, sold necklace. I'm just going to let you study it for just a minute, just the photo of it. And these are not perfect matches, but the first one has the graduated beads. But I want you to take a close look at it, and then I'll show you what it sold for next to the first set that I made. Now let's compare the necklace that sold on eBay to the first set that we made today. Would you have ever guessed that it sold for over $7,000? Over $7,600. Amazing, right? The necklace set I made and this necklace was side by side, and you couldn't see the 18 karat marking on the clasp. Would you know which one was gold? Would you know that one sold for over $7,600? I don't think I could tell. Anyway, let's move on to the next necklace set. Vintage necklace has a ring or circle clasp. As I said, I like the glass tube beads, but the round beads in between are plastic because I can see the plastic at the end. So this one has potential for upcycling, so let's take it apart and see if we can improve on these beads just a little bit. Whoop, overshot my bowl. I would upcycle the clasp, but it is a ring clasp and it has a little bit of wear, so I'll put it in my vintage component stash, but I don't think I'm going to use it for this video. If you don't have glass tube beads, you could probably find some. I had these in my stash, but they are silver lined where these are gold lined. but look for glass, silver, or in our case, gold lined bugle beads. Gold lined bugle beads, that's what you want to look for. If I can find them, I'll put my Amazon link below the video. Okay, so what do I like and what do I not like? I like the two beads. I do not like the round beads because they're plastic. And we're going for glass and metal in this one. Those are going bye-bye. Remember that at the end of the video, I'll do a recap of set 1, 2, and 3 and ask you to vote in your comment. Yes, vote in your comment which set or sets that you like the best. So what can we add to these glass beads? Can we work in some of these beads or anything from here? There is a concern that this glass tube could slip through the hole of some of the larger beads. It looks like it would be okay. And then I have these beads from the blue and white bracelet that I took apart. And of course I have the other round beads too. So let's get some string. I think instead of just cutting 20 inches this time, although I think the length of the last necklace is good because we have an extension chain. It turned out about 19. So let's do 12 and I'll give myself a little more. 12 and 11, just an inch more than the last time. You could do 24 inches if you're new at this. Go with 24 inches. I try not to waste my wire. That's why I kind of just allow a little extra. Got our little beading mat here. This was the focal point bead. It sounds like metal to me. It's got that sound. So let's go ahead and work with it again. It's a nice size. It's larger than these here. So I have 4 of these small textured beads. I'm going to save 2 for earrings and then put 1 of these on each side. But don't worry, it's going to look different from the first necklace. It has to look different. We're going to be using these glass tube beads. I'm just trying to make a little focal point here before we get started. And I kind of envision this as a very light, delicate necklace. Round bead here and here. That's what we have so far. And I think we're ready to go ahead and start the tube beads and see what happens here. Again, I have to make sure. These holes are pretty large. I might have an issue here. No, it's not going to go through. At least I hope not. Let's add a glass bead on each side. And I did like the pattern of how they had round beads in between each glass bead. So I'm not opposed to going with that. I just wanted to start out the focal point of the necklace, you know, the front, different from what it was. Using larger beads. Put a few on here and show you what it looks like. I'm not sure if I'm going to work in these anymore or not, the largest one. So that's what we have. Decisions. Do I want to work in a larger bead here? Let's try it, see what it looks like. Well, that looks kind of cool. I like that. Although I'm wondering if I should have 3 sets of glass beads in between here, because you see how it's forming like this angle. Do you see the angle that it's forming? I think I need to have another set of glass beads in between, adding another tube bead, 1 to each side, and then the small bead. See if this lays any nicer. I think it's going to. Kind of move things back a little bit so you can see. Let's try again to work in this larger bead with a smaller bead on each side of it before we go back to the tube beads. I like it. What do you think? Okay, let's go back to alternating now. And I think I can work 2 sides at a time. I might need to save 2 of these glass tube beads for the earrings. Keep that in mind. I can't stress to you how important it is to make sure these glass tube beads do not slip through the hole of whatever size round bead you're using, because to get all this work done and then find out that it slipped inside of there, well, you would have to redo the whole necklace. That wouldn't be any fun. Or maybe it would be fun. I don't know. Maybe you would like redoing it. I think it's the twist tube beads that I run into. You know, I've shown you the twist silver beads, and those tubes are a lot smaller than these glass beads. But it's just something to be aware of. I'm just going to finish this off, alternating the glass tube beads and these round beads. So play some music for you. But that's what we have so far.
I am strolling along, just minding my business, humming a song. I'm happy by myself, not a care in the world. This is a life, just me, myself, and I. I am watching the clouds up in the sky, all but laughing out loud. I'm telling you why I'm living the life, just me, myself, and I. I used to think that life was cold and lonely. When you up and left me, sadness overwhelmed. And oh me, I'm out and about, painting the town red. I'm coming around. There ain't no doubt about it. I'm no longer blue. So glad we are through. Just me, myself, and I.
We're getting close to the end, so let's take a look at what we have here. I don't know about you, but I think this is so much prettier than the original necklace with just the one bead. This adds some interest. If I had more of these, I would have incorporated them here, but I saved the other two for earrings. I think we need to stop here. Let's check the measurement. We're at 19 inches, plus we need to add a clasp. I think I'm going to go hold this up to myself and see if I need to back down on any beads or not. I'll be right back. I tried it on, and I think I am going to bring this back down to closer to 18, 18 and a half, plus an extension chain, just because of the way V-necks fall. You know, when we wear V-neck tops, you don't want it to be longer than the V-neck. So I'm going to go ahead and back down a little bit here, but I will add a small bead here at the end. I have the larger bead, but I'm finishing off with a smaller bead. Then I'm going through the back side of the clamshell like we did before, picking up that crimp bead. It's just easier to use a bead than try to fit a crimp tube in there. Probably not impossible, but I kind of lean towards flatten that, check it, it's good. Bring up the clamshell, tuck that inside, and close that clamshell up around it. I have a lobster clasp and a small jump ring. Same thing we did for the first one. Just going to open this up, pull back, push forward, whatever you prefer. Don't go this way when you're opening and closing. Oh, that slid out of there, but we'll get it back in. Close this up. Push your beads down and around. Now I took off a glass bead on the one side, but I haven't taken it off that side yet, so let's double check, make sure everything matches up. Looks good to me. Just push the beads down. And this time I'm going to open up the clamshell further and then go through the hole at the bottom. If your wire doesn't want to fit, just trim it off. It might just be frayed a little bit. Pick up the crimp bead. I think these are 1.3 millimeter. This is where we need to let this fall down inside. This is where chain nose pliers come in handy so that you can push the bead down. If you don't push it down, the beads are going to be loose on the wire. So I'm pushing it down, then flattening it. But this is the one you really have to be careful and make sure it's good. Okay, it's good. Let's trim that off with, I'm going to use clippers. Sometimes it cuts right away, sometimes it doesn't. There. Okay, let's close up that clamshell. Closes really easy. And now, let's get these jump rings on here. First of all, let's attach the lobster clasp. Use whatever size jump ring you want to use. Close that up. Add a jump ring to the other end. We're going to add some extension chain as well, so just like the first one. Uh-oh, this doesn't want to go through here. There, we got it. So when you're upcycling jewelry, save all those extension chains and all the clasp and all that good stuff. I have to make some earrings to go with this. Extension chain has to be large enough for the lobster clasp to go through. This has a lot of texture, more texture than I want. This chain probably would work, but I think I'm going to go with the standard chain. We only need about 3 inches of it. Looking for the cut in the jump ring. Oop! I had it upside down. That's how good my eyes are today. Let's add that to the jump ring. That jump ring could be closed better. Now let's measure out 3 inches. Not counting the ring, not counting the jump ring. I'm measuring out 3 inches. If you're making it for yourself, you may not need any extension chain. And again, if you want to, you can add a charm to the end here. I'm not doing that today, but I'm really happy with this necklace. And I saved these 2 beads, and I saved some glass tube beads. And we need a couple of head pins and maybe a couple of small beads. And yeah, let's make some earrings. If you like this video, give it a like, comment, and if you haven't done so, please subscribe. And keep watching, there's more. So what it's going to be, pick up these textured beads right here, a couple of ear wires. I'll walk you through the first one here. Push the beads down, bend at a right angle, cut it down to about 3/8. Wire is flush with the round nose pliers. Pull towards yourself and roll back. I don't think I always tell you that I pull towards myself when I do that, but I do. It's just such habit. Push the beads down, etc. Let's open the ear wire sideways, whichever side the loop is. Sometimes it's in the front, sometimes it's in the back. Here's our earrings. Those are pretty cool. Here's our second necklace and earrings. The earrings are very different, very unique, but it picks up some of the components that we've used. I really like this necklace and earring set. I'm so glad that I upcycled it. Yes, I kept the same pattern around the neckline, but I went from plastic beads that had some wear on them to the plated beads, gold-plated beads, and added the focal point at the bottom and a couple of accent beads on the side, and of course the earrings using the glass tube beads. Yeah, I really like this set. I will tell you that I went on a search on Amazon, my Amazon affiliate links, for similar tube beads, and these vintage beads are about a 1/2 inch long, and I was only finding smaller bugle beads. So I think to find these gold-lined clear glass beads, you'll probably have to find a vintage necklace for this one. But still, take the idea of the tube beads, find the longest beads you can, and make something that's your own from what you have to work with. But yeah, I'm kind of partial to this one. Yeah, might be a keeper. Let's take a look at the necklace that sold on eBay that had a little bit of something to do with this inspiration for this set. The eBay sold comp doesn't match as far as the glass tube beads. They are using chain in between, but it's an idea, and I wanted to show it to you so that you can guess how much it sold for. So here's the photo. It sold for almost $2,800, and honestly, if I saw this necklace, I probably wouldn't think it was gold, but it is, and it has a very fine chain in between the beads. From the photo, would you have thought it was 18 karat gold, let alone worth almost $2,800? Right, so let's move on to necklace set number 3. And remember, when you vote in your comment for your favorite or favorites that we made today, you also might want to leave a comment as to how well you did in guessing the sold value of the eBay necklaces that I'm showing you in this video. Yeah, how'd you do? Because I think I would have failed. Let's make set number 3. We're mining gold today, so keep watching. I have this vintage necklace. It is marked, I think it's Napier. It's on a fine chain. And then I have this bracelet, which is more modern, and it is a cool style. It slides like this. I'm not really fond of these long dangles. I think they could get caught in something, but I do like the beads. So we're going to take these 2 apart and see what we can come up with. Oh, and that's all the glass beads I have left from the last one. That's crazy. We did pretty good. We could have made that necklace a little longer, I guess, but I like it. I like the length that it is. So let's go ahead and cut this wire. Do you see here how it just has a crimp bead? You know, someone asked me the other day why I don't always finish off with a clamshell or a bead cover. I just want to say that clamshells are used a lot in making jewelry from vintage to modern. And this vintage piece, well, they felt that a simple crimp bead was enough. You know, bead covers didn't come along until several years ago. I'll have to try to figure out when bead covers came along, but I mean, they've probably been around for a decade, but they were not used in vintage jewelry. Bead covers weren't used. It was clamshells and crimp beads. So maybe that answers the question as to why I don't always feel it's necessary to use bead covers. I have some here. I actually have a crimping tool here that I bought. I haven't used it yet. And I do have crimp covers. But I've sold thousands, yes, thousands of necklaces. I have gold wire, but when we use a clamshell, it's not really necessary. Put in there. And let's do the same thing here. This is on fine chain. How's it finished? Well, it has. And a customer has never said to me, why don't you have a crimp cover on here? No, that's never happened. All right, this is on gold wire, but we're just going to use silver. It's a crimp bead. I don't see a crimp cover there, just a crimp bead. I encourage you to start looking closely at the jewelry that you have, from your vintage stash to modern, and see how they finish the necklaces. I think you're going to find it rare that they've used a crimp cover. I always encourage you to do whatever you'd like. I'm just explaining why I don't worry about it. Okay. I have a bead here that if I can get this crimp bead off, whoop, I can free that up. Do the same thing here. It's just fixed on here with crimp beads, flattened crimp beads. Let's set this aside. Actually, I don't think there's much I could do with that chain. Who knows, though? This is what we have to work with. I don't think I'll be using the clasp. And we have these other beads here, too. So let's see what we can come up with. Do I want to work in anything here? I've got this one textured bead. I'm not going to work in any color today because that locks it in too much as to what you can wear it with. We're just going to stay with the gold because that's the goal in this video. As I said on the opening, we're going for the gold. What do we want for our focal point? We've got some really cool beads here. I love these beads. We have some beautiful rhinestones. It seems to me that a rhinestone should be the focal point. Just make sure all the rhinestones are intact. Wow, we have 3 of these. There was a bead inside there. I just need to make sure, again, that all the rhinestones are intact. Ooh, look at that bling. What's next? Do I want to go with these beads or these beads? These are brighter, but let's see what happens here. Just going to add some beads and see if I like the direction that it's going. Well, I like it. I like 3 rhinestones. Now, when you go to curve it, though, do you see what's happening here? They're separating. I'm going to zoom in. Do you see what happens when we get into the curve? These round beads are showing a gap between them. So we might need to fix that somehow. I guess we can fix it by adding a bead in between. I like them side by side, but I don't like the gap. And to make sure I'm using the same exact bead in between each one and after it. So I have a couple of different things going on in this bowl now. I'll show it to you in just a second here. That's beautiful. Oh my gosh. You know, these are a large hole on the rhinestones, but I gotta make sure they're all there. That is beautiful. And we took those from that bracelet. Oh, I like this. Okay, so now we have to decide. I don't have any more rhinestones. Rhinestones are not going to be used in the earrings. However, we could incorporate a couple of those in earrings and maybe a couple of these beads. So I'm going to set that aside. I want to see what it looks like if I have 3 of these end to end. And then a round bead. Let's try the other side and then we'll take a closer look at it. Or we could do like we did with the glass 2 beads and just put a 2 bead and then a round bead, a 2 bead, a round bead. But we're going to try 3 of these. These are nice beads. Well, I think that looks pretty cool. Gosh, we have 2 of these size. So let's kind of add this in for a little pattern. A little pattern change. Take a look at that. Pretty neat. I wish I had more rhinestones. And yes, I could work in rhinestone rondelles and everything, but I don't want to take away from the focal point here, though. What happens if we go back to 3 of these large twist tube? Take a closer look in just a second here. Let's bring the ends together, even this up. This is what we have so far. The question is, do I like this here? I do tend to want rhinestones here, or do I want beads in between everything like it was before? What adds more interest? The ribbed beads stacked in 3s, or if I put a bead in between? I'm going to think on it for a minute and I'll be right back. I think I'm going to compromise. I'm going to leave these 3 together here at the front of the necklace, but when we start up around the neckline, I'm going to add a bead in between everything. A bead in between all of the twist beads. And take a look at that. I'll play some music for you here while I string this, and then we'll take a look at it and see if it's going in the right direction or if we need to rethink it. This is what I have so far, and I like it. I like it. I like the fact that this really stands out on its own, and then we have the little accent here. And so I'm going to finish the necklace with just doing the same thing here, although I could taper down to smaller beads, but I would be switching the color. So instead, I'm just going to finish off with as many of these beads as I have, and I hope I have enough to make at least an 18-inch necklace plus an extension chain. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'll play some music for you. So what we have so far, even this wire up again, I think I'm going to run out of beads. I have 2 of these left. I'm out of this size. They go a little smaller here, which I could taper down smaller. You know, I saved a couple for the earrings. I've got to get that string out of here somehow. Maybe I can poke it through with, can add a couple more. But then I have to drop down to a smaller bead, smaller round bead. This must have been a short necklace. I didn't check it when I started, but it must have been pretty short, because I've added in bracelet components and it still seems really short. What do we have here? Right now, wow, we're just a little over 16 inches with the clasp be 17. I need to come up with something here to finish this. I do. Now, I have two different shades of these beads. I have these that we worked with, and I have these other gold-plated. I think I can get by. I put the earring beads in there. I think I can get by with just, whoa, way too many. Tapering around the neck with just these. That's what I'm going to do. Let's just do one more check. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to finish off around the neckline with these gold-plated beads that match pretty well. Let's check this, see what kind of length we have here. I think I'm going to do the same thing I've been doing, going for like, this is about 19. I might just take off a couple of beads and add the extension chain. Take off 3 beads here, and 3 beads here. Check this again. Gotta push these beads down, move the clip. Okay, now it's at 18. It's going to be about 18 and a half or so. I need to get a clasp. I have a lobster clasp, a couple of small beads, a couple of jump rings, a couple of crimp beads and clam shells. And I'm debating on whether I want to taper down here, and I think I will. I'm going to remove one of the larger beads and go ahead and go to one of my smaller beads that I like to do as I'm nearing the end, and then go through the back of the clamshell, same thing we've been doing, picking up a crimp bead and just bringing it to the end. I kind of try to center it up on the wire, flatten it, check it, shouldn't budge. Bring the clamshell up over it, close it up, 2 pairs of pliers, open up a small jump ring, put it through the loop, the little holes on the clamshell, attach the lobster clasp. That part's easy. Let's push the beads down. You know what I like is we don't have to tuck any wire in to any of the beads. And I didn't have to taper down. It's just something I do. You don't have to do it. That's the thing with making jewelry. You make it however you'd like to make it. Okay, I have 5 beads there, and I have 4 here. I think I see what I did. I think I put that on the end where I hadn't removed a bead. So guess what? I'm putting a bead back on here. That's what I'm doing. Easy fix. Run your hands down through it. Open up this clamshell a little wider. You don't want to overwork them, but you can get by opening it up wider. Again, run your hands down through here. Got my chain nose. Going to push this bead down. Down before I flatten. Push it down before you flatten. Check it. I pull on it really good, you know. Trim it at the wire down close to the crimp bead. Make sure it's inside of there. 2 flat nose. Open up the jump ring. Go through the holes of the clamshell. We still have earrings to make, so don't go anywhere. Plus, I show you a recap at the end, and I invite you to vote. I don't know that I've said yet. I invite you to vote for your favorite set or favorites from what we made today. Let's add an extension chain. I think we're just going to stay with the same extension chain. I'm looking here to my side. I had ideas for some other necklaces, but I don't want the video to get too long. So I think I see another gold video in our future. Perhaps. I think we did good though, making 3 necklace and earring sets. Let's measure this out. 3 inches, not counting the jump ring. Make sure I open it on the right side this time. There we go. Look for the cut. With all this glare from my lights, it's hard to see. It just is, you know. Let's close this up. I have a feeling I have more than 3 inches now. No, I'm good. I'm good. Close it up. Attach a charm if you want. I'm not feeling charming today. You know, one of these years, I'd love to have some Avante jewelry charms to attach to my jewelry. Might even buy an engraver someday. Who knows what's in the future here. Let's make some easy earrings. We've got a couple of head pins. We have 2 of these. And we set aside 2 of those. And we have some little beads. Start out with a small bead at the bottom. Mainly, we start with a small bead so that these don't fall off, so that the head pin doesn't go through. There is a reason for most things that I do. Let's add this round bead on top. Taper down to a small bead. Push the beads down. Oh, I need some ear wires, don't I now? Well, I'll get them here in just a second. Here we go. Here's our earrings to go with this beautiful gold. Yes, I'm saying gold. To go with this beautiful necklace featuring the rhinestones and the vintage beads. And I love it. I love it. This looks fancy. Oh my gosh, I do love it. Simple earrings, but they work. I just love these vintage beads. They have texture, they have style, and they have a lot of weight to them too. Yeah, these have some weight to them. These are very nice beads. And of course, the pair of earrings. We've got the pretty rhinestones at the bottom and the accent beads, and quite stylish, don't you think? Especially with black. I think it turned out really nice. Again, remember to watch all the way to the end when I recap everything. And next I am going to show you that eBay sold comp, and then I'll show you what it actually sold for. Oh my gosh, as I said, this was really fun to do. And this one, how much did this necklace sell for? Take a close look. Clock is ticking. Let me know. All right, I'll show it to you. Am I seeing what I think I'm seeing? $14,350? I could only dream of selling one of my necklace and earring sets. And this one was just a necklace for $14,350. Do I have the wheel spinning in your head now on how you can make upcycled jewelry that looks like gold? Yeah, gold. Who knew? Let's recap what we made today so that you can vote. Let's look at 1, 2, and 3. Let's look at the sets, and I'll see you on the other side. So keep watching.
A little different than all the rest. I'm quite old-fashioned where I had sometimes played chess. And when I'm out, I'm looking for that vintage. So hard to find, these seem impossible to score.
I just want to show you the necklace that I'm wearing. Is this gold chain? Are these real gold beads? Actually, they're not. They are components left over from what I made in this video. It's a fine chain that I showed you at the beginning of the video, and I had to take the clasp off, and I was able to thread these 3 beads on here. The center one is textured. I don't know if you can even see that. And then I used a clamshell to run the fine chain through and put a crimp bead, and yeah, finish off this necklace. And it took me all of 5 minutes, 5 minutes to make. And then I whipped up a pair of earrings to go with it. But I do have a favorite out of the 3. I'm listing 2 of the sets in our eBay store, Avante Avenue, and you'll find a link for the store below the video. But this set here, this one with the glass beads, I already wore it. I wore it earlier today when I met a friend for lunch. Go ahead and play.
I have no calluses left on the fingers to hold anything down anymore. Can't hold them down.
Alrighty. And yeah, I'm keeping this set. I just have to keep it. I really like it. And I only have a few of the glass beads left. So yes, this one is a keeper. I almost wore it in the video, but I didn't want to give it away. So that's why I quickly whipped up this simple one right here. I hope you had a lot of fun watching this video. I had a lot of fun making the jewelry. There was more that I wanted to make, and I just didn't have enough time. So there'll probably be another gold inspired video in the future. Leave a comment, vote for your favorite or favorites, and let me know how you did in your guessing of what some of those gold necklaces, real gold necklaces, sold for on eBay. Woohoo! And I hope you feel inspired to have some fun with your bead stash. Thanks for watching. I'm Vicki, and I'll see you in the next video.